Ever stop to think about the force that keeps your feet planted on the ground, but also wears out the soles of your favorite shoes? It's this invisible power, all around us, all the time, that we pretty much take for granted. Well, today, we're going to drag it into the spotlight. We're talking about the force that quite literally shapes our world: friction. I mean, just think about it for a second. The very same force that lets you hold your phone is the one that grinds your car's engine parts down over time. It's friction. So, is it our best friend or our worst enemy? Well, that's the paradox we're going to dive into right now. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down what friction actually is. Then, we'll get into the specific rules it plays by, and some might surprise you. After that, we'll look at its good side, its bad side, and finally, we'll check out the super clever ways we figured out how to control it. Okay, let's jump right in. Before we can talk about friction being a hero or a villain, we need to be on the same page about what it even is. So let's get a nice, clean definition. So, at its heart, friction is just resistance. It's this force that pops up whenever two surfaces try to slide past each other. And its entire job, its whole mission in life, is to stop that from happening. You know, when you slide a book across a table, that invisible thing pushing back at you, that's friction. And it's also the reason the book eventually stops. But here's the thing. Friction isn't just one simple force. It's kind of tricky. It acts differently in different situations, almost like it has different personalities. And to really get it, you gotta know its rules of engagement. We've all been there, right? Trying to move some ridiculously heavy couch, that first big shove, that grunt where nothing happens, that's you in a head-to-head battle with static friction. It's the force that wants to keep things locked down. But then, once you finally get it moving, it feels just a little bit easier to keep it sliding, doesn't it? Well, now you're just dealing with dynamic friction, which is the resistance for things already in motion. And this right here, this is the key. If you remember one thing, it's that it's almost always harder to start moving something than it is to keep it moving. Why? Well, imagine two pieces of sandpaper. When they're just sitting on top of each other, all the tiny, jagged imperfections on their surfaces have time to settle in and lock together like microscopic puzzle pieces. Getting it moving means you have to break all those tiny bonds at once. So, scientists figured out a few basic rules here. Some are pretty obvious, right? Of course, it always pushes against you. Of course, the type of surface matters. Ice skates on ice is a totally different ballgame than sneakers on pavement. And yeah, the heavier something is, the more friction there is. But here's the one that messes with your brain a little. The amount of surface area touching doesn't really matter. I know, it sounds wrong. You'd think a big, wide tire has more grip than a skinny one. But if they have the same weight on them, the friction is pretty much the same. It's a total mind bender. Okay, so we've got the rule book. Now let's flip the script and talk about why friction is, without a doubt, the unsung hero of our daily lives. Seriously, without it, our world would be an absolute, unrecognizable, slippery disaster. Just think about your day so far. Did you walk anywhere? You can thank friction for that. Pick up a coffee mug. Yep, friction again. Drive your car? You were relying on friction to make the engine belts turn and, more importantly, for your brakes to work at that stop sign. From the nails holding the pictures on your wall to the simple act of writing with a pen, friction is the essential force that makes it all possible. But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? For every heroic moment, friction has a dark side. It's the persistent villain in the story of engineering, the force that people spend their entire lives trying to defeat. You see, that same rubbing that stops your car also slowly grinds away your brake pads. That's wear and tear, the slow, inevitable death of any moving part. Even worse, friction is the ultimate energy thief. It steals the useful energy that's supposed to be moving your car forward and just converts it into wasted heat. That's why engines get hot, and all that heat is just money you spent on gas, literally disappearing into thin air. So, what do you do with a force like that? A force you desperately need, but that's also constantly working against you? Well, you can't get rid of it. So, you have to get smart. You learn how to tame it. And over the years, we've come up with some genius ways to put friction in its place. We use things like oil and grease to create a slippery layer between surfaces so they can glide instead of grind. But maybe the most brilliant trick of all? The ball bearing. Swapping out that inefficient grinding, sliding for easy-peasy rolling, that changed everything. Then there's polishing surfaces until they're incredibly smooth, or streamlining the shape of a car so it slices through the air. All clever hacks to manage the force. So, we're left with this awesome paradox.
Friction is both the glue holding our world together and the relentless force tearing it apart. It's not good, it's not evil, it's just both, all at once. So the real challenge isn't about defeating friction. It's about getting better and better at the dance, mastering the fundamental force that, whether we like it or not, makes our world exactly what it is.